This is a letter to Mr. Dan Hesse, CEO and President of Sprint Communications. Dear Mr. Hesse, I have been a Sprint customer for 17 plus years, first with home telephone, then with DSL, and now for the past 14 years as a Sprint cell service. At the onset, Sprint was the best in the business, and we never had a problem with any of the three services for which we paid. That has now changed, and I consider Sprint to be the lowest in the list of the cell services on the market, considering the experiences we have been getting in the last year. Long on promises and laudatory news articles about your service and upgraded network, but short on actual reception of those services. My son was a Sprint employee who is partially paralyzed and now retired on 100% disability. Since we do not live in the same town, it is mandatory that I have web access to the camera system my son had installed in his home, that I may check on his well-being at all times. And now, to get to the current and most pressing problem at hand, it would appear that the network being touted as being the best in the industry is just exactly the opposite. And this has been verified by people I know who work for Sprint in the field as field engineers and techs, who are out there every day trying to solve problems about which your consumers have complaints, as well as by local technicians and people within the phone technical assistance field. And it is not centrally located in my area of Florida, but again is verified by these technicians across the United States. The major problem of which I speak is the lack of being able to get network access and internet services at all times of the day and night. I have exhausted my calls to technical support to no avail, following every piece of advice they offer from morning hours up and including 2 a.m. in the morning. I can never depend on receiving the service for which I switched to a smartphone. Currently a Samsung Galaxy S2 4G Touch purchased in February of last year, 2012, at our local corporate store. The phone itself is a whole other problem. What I have ended up with is a high-priced cell phone. At least that aspect of the phone is still working and available for now. Keisha in Virginia has been working on this problem since the 23rd of February. I've been having the problem for the last 6 months or so. After she called me in reply to an email sent to dan@sprint.com. However, no resolution has been reached, and in fact, on recent weekends, I was unable to access the network for a period of over 30 hours. I cannot depend on being able on a daily basis to have network coverage. I sent her the website of the Sprint community blog advising that if she read all the postings, maybe she would have a better understanding of what is really going on, and that she needed to advise you and to come down out of the ivory tower and do the same thing. I called a number I saw enlisted for investor relations, trying to get a phone number to reach at least someone close to your office. And like any and all other numbers I can find through the internet, LinkedIn, websites, etc., it just recycles to someone else. And that someone else I reached on Wednesday, March 20th was Beatrice, who said that she is an executive analyst whose job it is to take care of these types of calls. She then took the information as to why I was calling, since I could not get her to transfer me to anyone else, and said that she would look into the complaint. She called me back in about an hour and said that she will follow progress on an open ticket and get back in touch with me again, which is the very same thing that Keisha in Virginia said she would do. And she only told me that the ticket is still open and the problem is still being worked on. I am sure that exactly what Beatrice will also do. It does not solve the problem, and I still have most of every day when I cannot access my Facebook and websites. When will my network problems be fixed to the point where I can pick up my phone and know that I will have the ability to go online to, check Amazon or any other website? The answer I'm getting from technical support and your analysts are not satisfactory. As to the phone itself, it has had problems all along, and I find out now that these are known problems. The battery drain and overheating is one. I keep one battery in the phone and 2 charging at all times. It shuts down and reboots at all hours of the day and night, and the settings menu, which pops up and down at any time. No matter what you're doing, you're not touching anything to make it do so, it just happens all by itself. This, too, is a nationwide problem, and I'm currently on my 4th phone. The first one, which I hope and think was new, was purchased at a local corporate store. but would not connect to the Bluetooth. The second phone, refurbished, had dark lines on every page through text messages and pictures, so the local store ordered phone number 3. The fourth phone was ordered by the online tech support in reply to a call about the network and all other problems. So I'm currently using a refurbished phone after paying for a new phone in the beginning. I should have a new phone now and not one that was somebody else's problems. Mr. Hesse, I know you're a busy man, but your corporation has become the butt of jokes about the industry and is used as a how not to and what not to do to successfully operate a cell service. I can understand why the churn rate of Sprint stays so high and why you have to do desperate things to try to gain and keep customers. I, for one, will be waiting out my contract, 10 months and counting, or will get tired of the constant promises and just buy my way out and be heading over probably to Verizon, where I will be using a pay-as-you-go system. It is pretty bad when you go into the Verizon store and they already know what my problem with Sprint is before I say anything, the network. I really do not want to leave Sprint, but I do think that Sprint has left me a long time ago and that I really have no other option. I doubt that you, Mr. Hesse, will ever see this letter, but maybe, just maybe, someone who does will take what I am saying seriously and come up with a solution that will keep me and many other once loyal customers from leaving for other carriers. And as a further incentive to possibly get the attention of someone in some position to do something that will be put on YouTube in the form of a letter to Dan Hesse, as well as be placed on every Facebook page of my network or of friends and acquaintances. As I said, Mr. Hesse, I don't really wish to leave Sprint. I've been a long and loyal customer. I prefer to stay with Sprint if you can get your issues fixed in a timely manner and compensate me for the heartache, the high blood pressure, the long hours, and the loss of service that I have had. I also think that I should receive a new phone since that is what I purchased in the beginning. I hope that you will see this or someone will see it that will have some authority and some ambition to do something to keep their customers. If not, I will be leaving for Verizon and take my service elsewhere because it will be the only option I have to be assured that I will have service at all times. What I have now is undependable, unreliable, and totally unacceptable. Thank you, Francis Porgal.